Just off the coast of Cape Town, it was here on Robben Island that Nelson Mandela spent 18 of his 27 years in prison. Today it remains a poignant reminder of oppression under South Africa's apartheid regime.
It wasn't only Nelson Mandela, there were many of Mandelas. According to them, we were terrorists, dangerous criminal prisoner in the world.
Convicted in 1985, THULANI MABASO spent 2,090 days in this cell, about 6 years. He has tears in his eyes every time he comes back here.
Whenever they open the door, you see that door, they are going to bang it, a lot of bow, bow, bow. You know, keep you awake. Sometimes they all see this intercom, they open it very loud, wow, you know, making you that feel uncomfortable. I'll never forget it.
With the end of apartheid, Robben Island was eventually closed and now operates as a museum, with former prisoners taking an active role in guiding tourists around the site and reminding them of the brutality of apartheid. THULANI comes back often, determined to tell the truth about what happened here and to come to terms with the past. Meeting his former jailers, he tries to forgive. DIRK SMIT was a chef in the prison, allocating food rations that varied depending on an inmate's skin colour. THULANI served under him as an assistant.
THULANI, do you still remember how this happened those days? Man?
Yeah.
Let them show the people how we did it, man.
He was a young boy, young man. He loved to talk.
Still do.
He loved to talk. But we were watching him. We were watching. Yeah.
The two men first met at 19 years old. DIRK has happy memories of the island, the penguins and the sea. He got married in this church and eventually had 2 children here. Years later, moving back, renovating the house he used to live in.
It will keep another 5 years. Good. I wouldn't have imagined that at the time that the island closes down. But I'm actually very happy that it did happen, because the relationships that I formed with some of the political prisoners in the prison don't need to be under wraps now. It can be in the open. So I can openly sit and talk with them and discuss what happened and what didn't happen.
The face of this UNESCO World Heritage Site is constantly changing, but it remains a must for tourists visiting South Africa. In the peak of the South African summer, some 2,500 visit the island every day.
Please proceed to the buses or you'll be met by your tour guides.
They are transported around the island by bus, stopping at the limestone quarries where prisoners were forced to work and at the guards' village. Emotions build as they arrive at the high-security prison, where they take photos of Mandela's cell. Many of the guides have no choice but to confront painful memories every day. They simply need the jobs to survive.
We want to find peace within ourselves. We're here to heal ourselves. That's much more fundamental. But secondary to that is because of unemployment. At least if we've got a resource of this nature, let that resource solve that problem that is faced by political prisoners.
Many former inmates believe that the income generated from the 350,000 visitors who come each year should be better distributed. The guides went on strike at the start of January, calling for better salaries and the conclusions of an inquiry launched into alleged corruption of the site managers. In a South Africa where many state projects are bankrupt, such strike action is taken seriously. The authorities refuse to discuss bad governance. This museum is state-subsidised and generates 65% of its own running costs.
All South Africans have a right to question whatever happens in government entities, especially if it's taxpayers' monies. So if we need to account, we will account, and we've always accounted as Robben Island Museum.
While the guides wait for their demands to be met, tourists continue to flock to Robben Island. 30 years after the liberation of Nelson Mandela, this journey into the past continues.